In today's climate, nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights today. Shoot better. Stay safer. Crimson Trace.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, a special guest co-host joins Tom in the studio. Plus, confusion with the New York State SAFE Act, a new program for injured veterans, and more. Call Tom now at 866-825-5486. That's 866-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
Well. Welcome again to Gun Talk. I'm Tom Gresham, your host. We're going to be having a bunch of fun for the next few hours talking about, well, a lot of what we talk about is, frankly, the stuff you want to talk about. If you call in here, we'll talk about it. Of course, guns and ammo and scopes and optics and training and fun stuff and the things you want to buy. And no, we don't allow you to sell any guns. I'm sorry. That's just not allowed around here. But having a lot of fun, we have a good friend of ours who has joined me on the show as guest many times, but today we're putting her to work, because if you can't take advantage of your friends, who can you take advantage of? Joining me right now is Jane Anne Shimizu from Gunsite Academy. How are you?
I am great, Tom. It is so wonderful to be here.
Well, Jane Anne said, well, I want to watch you do your show. I said, no, you don't get to do that. You have to work.
I love it. Put me to work.
All right, for those who don't know, tell them what Gunsite is.
Gunsite Academy is the world's oldest and largest firearms training facility. We are in our 40th year this year. We're celebrating 40 years. And we run year-round in Paulden, Arizona. Gunsite Academy was founded by Jeff Cooper back in 1976.
It's been called the Harvard of Gunfighting Schools. And I know it's always interesting. People say, well, you know, that's like, they've been around a long time. There's new stuff out there. But when you talk to people who actually really know this stuff, they say, you know, there really are only the basics. You guys teach the basics, and then you go from there. But when you talk to your instructors, and you've got world-class instructors, they'll tell you, you're really just teaching the basics better as you get to better and more things, and you've learned to face more challenges.
And Jeff Cooper set the doctrine for training firearms to civilians, and we have taken it to the next level. Everything has to evolve. And from the stance to the draw to everything there is to know about handling a firearm, we have learned from Jeff Cooper and evolved through Gunsite Academy.
Absolutely. In Paulden, Arizona, about about 2 hour drive north of Phoenix.
Depending on traffic, I've been known to make it in an hour and a half.
Yeah, but I've seen you drive, so I can believe that.
It's an easy drive. It's a beautiful drive. You can see everything from southern Arizona all the way up to the pine trees in the mountains.
Yep, exactly right. All right, tell you what, we're going to take a quick break here. If you'd like to join us on the air, 866-TALK-GUN, get you in there, 866-825-5486. Also, of course, you can always shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. A lot of ways to make that happen. Let's see. Over on Twitter, I am at Gun Talk. And let's see, we have Facebook going, and you have your Facebook too, right, Jane Anne?
I do. I got my Facebook going.
So it is Gunsite?
It's Gunsite Academy.
Gunsite Academy, if you want to take a look at that. All right. And when we come back, let's talk about what's going on in New York State. You're not going to believe what the anti-gun politicians... Well, yeah, you will believe what the anti-gun politicians are doing there. But there are some people who are taking action. They are pushing back. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
Experts agree that the low-range variable rifle scope is best for most situations. Now, Trijicon offers a stunning 1-to-6 power variable in the AccuPoint line. Featuring a battery-free illuminated reticle, superior glass clarity, and rugged construction, it's the one scope you need for hunting and competition. Long eye relief, aircraft-grade aluminum housing, manual brightness override. See the 1-to-6 power AccuPoint at Trijicon.com. Trijicon.com.
Want to customize the look of your firearm and give it ultimate durability? Well, don't paint it, Cerakote it. Cerakote is a spray-on ceramic polymer coating that uses state-of-the-art technology to achieve superior abrasion resistance and corrosion protection. Field-proven and trusted by manufacturers and gun owners like you, Cerakote is the industry's unmatched performance leader. In lab testing and real-world applications, Cerakote outperforms the competition every time. See for yourself and find a local certified applicator near you at Cerakote.com. Choose the best. Choose Cerakote and finish strong.
The .45 Auto, also known as the 1911, is the standard other defensive pistols are measured against. No matter what pistol you carry, techniques developed around the 1911 are vital. You know you need training, and you know your concealed carry class definitely was not training. Now Gun Talk presents an exciting DVD, Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. Tiger's unique training style will have you drawing, moving, shooting, and running your gun better, no matter what style pistol you prefer. At ShopGunTalk.com, you can order our DVDs of Tiger's instruction. ShopGunTalk.com also has a 2-DVD set, including Concealed Carry 1. Get both for the information you know you need. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com has DVDs, books, and other essential gear. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
FN handguns bear the DNA of legends, of John Browning, the father of modern firearms, of the artisans and craftsmen who brought his genius to life, of the brave souls who defended our freedom on the front lines for the last 100 years, and the brave souls who defend it on the home front today. FN handguns. The DNA of legends in the palm of your hand. Ask for FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms.
Now is the time to save big money on a Liberty Safe. Save over $500 on select models. You'll get the best gun safe on the market, a Liberty Safe. Get upgrades like free gloss finish, free accessories. Enter to win a handgun vault. Liberty Safe offers the industry's best lifetime warranty and unmatched customer service. To see the Spring Fever specials, go to LibertySafe.com. That's LibertySafe.com.
All right, back with you, Tom Gresham, and my guest co-host for right now for this week, because I'm making her work today, Jane Anne Shimizu from Gunsite. Glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here, too.
This is fun. I'll tell you what, we have a guest coming in to bring us up to date with something that's going on in New York State that I really want people to understand. It actually has application across the country because, you know, New York and California are kind of where the gun ban industry and the politicians, they roll out their processes, their procedures, their secret little things they do. And if they get away with it there, then it just kind of oozes out to other states. We're joined right now by Paloma Capanna. Did I get that right, Paloma?
Yes, Tom. Thank you.
All right, absolutely. Now, you're the attorney for Darkstorm Industries, but you know, at Darkstorm Industries, you can look that up on the website, internet. It's dark-storm.com. Explain what's going on in New York, because it's, for those of us who are not there, it's kind of hard to comprehend.
It's hard to comprehend when you are in New York. Imagine, if you will, a land far away from what most federal firearms licensees have in their relationship with the ATF. You know, the ATF, like them or not, actually engages in a dialogue. They have a technical services division. They'll evaluate firearms during the research and development process or prior to import and whatnot. In New York,
you can work with them.
You can. You absolutely can. In New York in 2013, Governor Cuomo jammed through something called the SAFE Act in the dead of night on a message of necessity with none of the legislators having read it. As part of that, he then threw over to the New York State Police the concept that they could implement certain provisions, including a provision which we refer to in New York as the assault weapons ban. Obviously, the listeners of Gun Talk are educated enough to know there's no such thing as an assault weapon. That's a legal fiction created by the legislators.
Right. Exactly.
But what we've been dealing with since January 2013 is a New York State Police with no real agency power that is trying to turn itself into a regulatory agency. They opened an 800-number hotline that you're supposed to be able to call to get answers to questions. But then if you call with the same question twice in the same day and get two different operators, you get two different answers, and they refuse to put it in writing. They have a website, but it has technical errors. They have pamphlets that are supposed to show you which firearms are legal and which are not, but it doesn't cover the whole known universe of firearms. Most recently, Darkstorm Industries had a conversation with Troop L of the New York State Police, that's their gun investigation unit out on Long Island, and the owners, Ed and Pete, thought that Troop L was providing some information of value to the firearms community. So they shared that on Facebook and a couple of the other forums for gun owners. And the next thing we knew, Division Counsel for the New York State Police decided they weren't going to stand behind Troop L. They said, well, if they said that, but we don't issue advisory opinions. Oh, and we're not going to put that in writing either.
Well, wait, let me make sure we're understanding here. So Darkstorm Industries is trying to get some clarification and some direction from the state police and said, look, what can we do? How do we go about this? What's the procedure? What's covered? What's not? Can you at least let us know? Of course, the whole idea is we would like to comply with the law. Just let us know what we need to do.
Imagine that. Yes, correct.
Yeah, so, and then you get this information from Troop L of the state police and say, you go, okay, that sounds good. And everybody's asking, so we're going to share this information. This is what they say. This is how we're going to go about this. And then all of a sudden, the state police headquarters says, whoa. No, that's not right. And, oh, by the way, we're not actually going to tell you what the law is. It reminds me of that old deal of just do something, and we'll let you know if it's legal when we come to arrest you or fine you.
Correct. That is their spoken position, is we're not going to advise you of anything in writing. We'll just let the judges figure out if and when a district attorney's office on the county level, where you could get variations from one county to another and so forth, at the point that they're pursuing a case, we might help you out. Now, what makes Darkstorm Industries' conversation with Troop L unique, and what I have been waiting for as a lawyer for the past 3 years trying to put together a good civil rights case, is they actually engaged in emails with Troop L. So you
have the record.
I do. It was the first instance where we actually had some writing. And it certainly appears, from everything I understand, that the gentlemen of Troop L were in good faith engaged in a dialogue, again, trying to assist the dealer in maintaining compliance with the law, so that they're not.
Let me say that this is not uncommon. This is not uncommon where the police officers are the ones who say, okay, yeah, we want to help you guys. We want to work with this. Let's make this all work. And then there's I call them bureaucrats with badges, which is basically a politician who got not elected, but actually appointed, actually makes it more difficult for the officers to do their jobs.
I agree with you. We have many fine men and women in the New York State Police, certainly also at our county level in the sheriff's offices, and at the local law enforcement level as well. And I've been engaged in conversation with them all. My job is 7 days a week, Second Amendment. This is what I do. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of confusion, even within the law enforcement community. One of the other things that might be interesting to the listeners is that in September of 2013, the New York State Police released another written document called a field guide. When they released it, it included terms not included in the statute. So some of us within SCOPE, the Shooters Committee on Political Education, which is a grassroots advocacy group here in New York, we sent out Freedom of Information requests about this field guide, and we said, hey, what's the policy or procedure you're going to use? For example, to determine that something is a so-called nuisance weapon, as you call it in your book, which you say means you're going to destroy the firearm the minute you bring it into inventory. And what did we get back in writing? Well, at first, we got back a stack of letters from the New York State Police saying we have no such written policy. Then, when we sued to pursue it further, lo and behold, right now, this minute, there are more than 450 pages sitting on a judge's desk in Albany County of documents New York State Police does not want to release to us under the Freedom of Information request.
So wait, let me make sure I understand this. So at this point, you know that there are 450 pages of documents that essentially are regulations, but you're not allowed to know what the regulations or how they're going to implement them or what their policies are?
You got it.
Wow. So what have you done, and where are we with this now?
Well, we submitted various memos of law, as you might imagine, fighting with an awful lot of enthusiasm to try to get the judge to release these documents. So we're waiting right now on that decision. If it is denied, we absolutely will appeal. The one thing that New York does have going for it is if we can get our way straight the way up the appellate ladder to the high court in the state of New York, it does have a very proud history of standing up against the governor and the executive branch here in New York and forcing the release of documents. So, all that the lawyer, in a sense, can say is hopefully at some point, we crack that open and we see just how it is they're actually operating behind the scenes.
What do you need in the way of help? I mean, I know that there are a lot of people in New York State who, I think the non-compliance is at an all-time record level there in terms of the SAFE Act. What can people do to help you with this effort?
Oh, sure. Thanks for bringing that up. I was the attorney representing Bill Robinson, and we did, in fact, win those figures on a Freedom of Information case of how many New Yorkers had and had not complied with the registration of these so-called assault weapons. Let me
How
give
many
you
was
a
that?
little... Well, we estimate it was a less than 4% compliance rate.
Wow, Jane,
So they had-
4%.
More than I thought it would be, really.
You did more than you thought it would be. Okay.
Well, yeah, it was fun. When I got that decision, of course, and I called my client, and I'm expecting him to be so excited. Look, we just beat Governor Cuomo. This is earth-shattering. And he says to me, oh, okay. And I said, Bill, aren't you at all excited? He said the same thing you just said, Jane Anne. He just said, well, I thought it would be lower.
Surprised that 4% would comply with what is in essence an illegal law.
Well, we blame it on two of the counties downstate with high populations and a higher relative number. But there is a very important campaign we're running right now that anyone can jump into. It's called Stop the Secrecy. The other part of what New York State did with this SAFE Act, which is the subject of federal litigation right now in a lawsuit called Montgomery versus Cuomo, is it brought in this provision, Mental Hygiene Law, Section 9.46, where the state of New York encourages your doctor and your hospital to report you without telling you that you are being reported. To report you to the Office of Mental Health, which then reports to the Department of Criminal Justice Services, which then reports to the New York State Police, who then reports it out to the county clerk, the Pistol License Bureau, judges, local law enforcement, and so forth.
So they then come pick up your guns.
Absolutely correct. So
okay, let me fast forward on that. But what that means is that people will now not seek medical help for fear they will be ratted out by their doctors.
That is correct, and that's exactly the opposite of what we want to have happen. Trust between the patient and the medical, and especially the mental health provider, is critical. Absolutely critical to people seeking out, finding a treatment provider, and then following through with treatment recommendations. So this has really flipped the entire system and goals for good public policy on its head. What we did in addition to filing a federal lawsuit that is currently awaiting some decisions from the judge is we launched a public campaign called Stop the Secrecy. And so far, more than 3,500 people have sent in Freedom of Information requests to the New York State Police saying, well, I want to know what you think you have about me in your file. After more than 10 months, the New York State Police have finally started responding to people, and they're refusing to provide any information. In fact, the letter says, we're not even going to look because it would violate HIPAA.
Oh, that's a lovely little blanket for them to wrap around themselves.
Well, except that it's really legally on its head as well, because in the Montgomery versus Cuomo lawsuit, the state of New York is defending that what they're doing and encouraging your medical provider to report to them is not a violation of HIPAA because they're not actually asking for your medical chart.
Okay, we're just about out of time here. Let me just ask you, where can people go to find more information and get on board on some of this?
Sure. My website is law-policy.com, and another organization to check out would be scopeny.org.
SCOPE, scopeny.org.
Yeah.
And your website is law-policy.com, and there's a picture of you there. Paloma, thank you so much. I appreciate what you're doing. Keep fighting the fight. This is so critical to beat this back so that, I mean, right now they're getting away with it, and the only thing that stops them is sheer mass. It just takes power in terms of dollars, time, effort, and as much as we can, shining the light of media attention onto it.
Thank you, Tom, and that's what makes a spot like this so important, and we want to let you know that people on the ground love listening to you, and we thank you so much for helping us to get the message out.
Well, thank you for what you're doing. All right, you take care. Jane Anne, amazing stuff.
Yeah, they're after our civil rights. I mean,
let's use your doctor as an enforcement arm of the government, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you may have said, well, you know, sometimes I'm a little depressed, and all of a sudden that gets circled back. And I'm not kidding. We've had numerous reports of there's a knock on the door, and the police are there, and they say, here's the list of guns you own, and we have this piece of paper, and you must turn them over now. So that's what they're going to do.
That's just crazy.
Hold on a second, Jane Anne. We're going to take a quick break here. If you'd like to join us, 866-TALK-GUN. Have you ever had your doctor ask you if you own guns? Love to know that. That's an ongoing thing. Also, if you want to know more about training, you got a question about that, or a range report, we'll certainly take that. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. You're listening to Gun Talk. We'll be right back.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
Oh, yeah. Talking about guns and having fun. That's what we do around here. Tom Gresham here. Glad you could join us. If you're not familiar with Gun Talk, shame on you. But welcome. Glad that you could be here. If you don't like guns and you just stumbled on this, well, hang around for a little while. It could be educational, could be fun. If you just really don't like guns, then give me a call and tell me why. I'll give you the floor. I'll let you talk. I'm not going to interrupt. I mean, you're not going to have, a half an hour monologue, but we'll talk about it. We'll move you up to the front of the line. Just call me at 866-TALK-GUN, or just, actually easier, just dial 1 and then Tom Talk Gun. That'll get you in here. Of course, I am joined by my, at least for this week, guest co-host, Jane Anne Shimizu from Gunsite. Hey.
Hi.
So what's happening at Gunsite? You guys got this like monster class thing going on this week, as well as other classes.
We've had monster classes going on for the last month. Things are really jumping around Gunsite. Starting today, they're doing a special event called Gunsite 40 with Rob Latham, Chris White, and Steve Tarani. They're all on different ranges, and they're teaching competition shooting. Steve Tarani is teaching hands-free how to fight without a weapon, and Chris White, I think he's just teaching basic down and dirty tactics.
Yeah, just because these guys know what they're doing. They know how to fight. Steve and Chris know how to fight, and Rob Latham knows how to teach you how to shoot faster and better.
Faster and better than Rob Latham.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Rob will actually work with, like tier 1 groups. He walks in, he says, look, guys, I don't know tactics. He says, I can't teach you that. I don't know what you guys do. He says, but I can teach you how to shoot fast and accurate. That's what I do.
And he's pretty at it.
It's amazing. You know, it really is. He's incredible. Let's run to the phone here. John has joined us. He's on 3 out of Delmont, PA. Hello, John. What happened at your chiropractor's office?
Well, Tom, I went to the chiropractor about a month ago to get an adjustment. I was having problems with my back. And me and my wife both went, and she went in first, and then I went in second, and I heard him asking her questions, and when I went in, he started asking me all these questions, you know, how I'm feeling, and, just different questions. And I said, well, why are you asking these questions? I said, this is kind of protrusive on my, privacy. And he said that the government's making him do this. And I said, really? And he says, yes. He says, I have to comply. So he asked me a few questions, and I just, flat out told him, yeah, I'm feeling great, just a little bit of aches and pains here and there. But, it's not just the doctors anymore. People better start watching out. It's the chiropractors doing it, too. And he said the government is actually forcing him to do this. And I was just shocked. And
how old are you?
And I've been listening to your show. When I'm at work, I try to catch it on Sunday when I'm at work, and if I don't catch it, I listen to the podcast. And I just caught the last few minutes of the lady from New York and what was going on there, and I just had to call in.
John, Jane Ann's got a question for you.
John, how old are you?
I'm 55. I'll be 56 here in another 9 days.
I ask you that because I went to the doctor about a month ago, and they gave me a form to fill out that asked me how I was feeling, asked me if I ever had bouts of depression, asked me if I was on any medication not prescribed by the doctor. And when I asked them about the form, they said they give it to people over 60. And they had to do it because the government wanted them to do it. I actually took the form and put it in my purse, didn't fill it out, and shredded it when I got home. They can't make you fill it out.
Well, that's the other thing. You know my line on this, don't you, John? It says, always tell the truth. That way you don't have to remember what you said. But on the other hand, it's not a sin to tell a lie to someone who's not entitled to know the truth.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, there you go. I would be tempted to... And rather than get into a confrontation with the doctor, because he's not really the enemy here, if they said, are you having any bouts of depression, I would probably say purple.
It's changing color.
Just whatever. Actually, just say, I think it's fine to just lie through your teeth on this stuff. And I know there are doctors out there going, no, we really want to help you. No, it's really none of your dadgum business. Yeah, that's the real... If I go to you and you're a chiropractor and I got a bad back, my mental state is none of your business. And you can tell me all day long, well, the government requires this. Well, they may require you to ask it, but they don't require me to answer it.
That's right.
I love it. Jane Anne takes that. She takes a piece of paper, takes it home, and shreds it. Hey, thank you, John. I appreciate that. Let me guess. And usually I don't ask people, to out themselves, but obviously you work at Gunsite and you have taught a lot of classes and you carry. We've talked about that before. I'm guessing you're in the doctor's office. You probably have a gun handy.
Oh, yes, always in my purse.
Always.
Always. In fact, I've been known to walk into the doctor's office wearing it and been asked to leave because I forgot I had it on. And they asked me to leave it in my car.
You're 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1911.
You're 1911.
On
45.
your hip.
Yeah.
Yes.
All 4'11" of you.
Scared them.
Which makes the gun look bigger, The shorter you are, the bigger the gun looks.
Yes.
It's a relative thing. That's incredible. Hey, Corey's called in. He's in Raceland, Louisiana. Corey, what's going on with the VA that you're hearing?
Hey, I'm a VA patient for a PTSD service connected, a couple of tours in Iraq. And the VA has a website that they compile your medical records into, and every time you go for an appointment, you can go back in and click on the blue button there that they provide, and you can see details of your last visit. Questions the doctor asked you, prognosis type things. And only once I've seen this, so I don't know the details behind it or where the information goes, but on one of my visits, after I went and clicked in to look at my appointment, there was a section there that said safety, and then behind safety it said guns, and the doctor had put no. The no button was on it. So I don't know who they share that information with, if they share it with anyone. If they're not sharing it, I don't even know why they're compiling the doctor's opinion on their patient.
Corey, I can tell you who they're sharing it with. If you tell the VA that you are having trouble managing your financial affairs, they will report you to the FBI, who does the NICS background checks, and you will be flagged as forever for the rest of your life never being able to own a gun. Oh, yeah.
Really?
That's
wow.
Yeah, and that we have multiple. I mean, we have not tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of times that's happened to vets now.
Okay, so they definitely sharing that.
They are definitely sharing that. They're sending it to the FBI, and if you tell them, "Look, I need help. I've got somebody else that handles my financial affairs," that's a trigger. It goes to the FBI, and then when you go to buy a gun, you will be kicked back as rejected because that is. I mean, you've never been adjudicated as being mentally incompetent, but in their eyes, they call that being mentally incompetent. So, yeah, that's another thing that if we had a different president, we might be able to get something like that fixed. Hey, don't go far. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
You need a good holster. You want something that's comfortable, easy to wear, and both high quality and inexpensive. Check out the Q-Line from CompTac. The Q-Line offers superior quality and comfort, plus a modular design that will fit multiple firearms, saving you time and money. With options for concealed carry or range use, the Q-Line is the quality holster you need. The Q-Line at comp-tac.com.
HSM Ammunition has been loading quality ammo since 1968. HSM makes a complete line of centerfire loads including long range, cowboy action, lead-free, dangerous game, and even a designated line of hard-cast bear ammunition for maximum penetration to stop game now. The latest 223 option from HSM, Varmint Blue, features a 55-grain Sierra Blitz King Bull. HSM Ammunition at your local shooting sports retailer.
A great trigger can make you a better shooter. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. Installation is easy. Give yourself the Timney Trigger advantage. To see more and order online, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY triggers.com.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
Hi, back with you. Tom Gresham here with our guest co-host, Jane Anne Shimizu. Jane Anne, you probably hear as many stories about guns and gun owners as anybody. How many people do you guys put through that place? I mean, it is an enormous facility, Gunsite Academy is.
It's an enormous facility, but we're really picky about our clients. You have to have a background check. You have to show proof of no criminal history. We put about 3,000 to 5,000 people through a year.
Wow.
And that's at our facility and other facilities.
Well, it's mentioned that because forever it's been in Arizona only, but now you have a new facility in Virginia?
We have a new facility in Richmond, Virginia. We have done 4 250 pistol classes. I believe it's 4 now, and they're all full. And we are almost filled up to November, and we're getting ready to open. Buzz Mills is a great business development, and we're getting ready to open another facility in Kansas, Wichita, outside of Wichita.
Oh, really?
And these are beautiful inside, what do you call them? Indoor ranges.
Yeah.
Gorgeous indoor ranges built in malls, built in huge box
stores. The beautiful
stores.
part about that is, one, it's air conditioned, which we like a lot. But you mentioned something I had not thought of. Hey, you can do low light training anytime.
Low light training any time of the day. You don't have to come in at night to do it.
Pretty cool.
And they're beautiful facilities. They're sort of the new Scottsdale Gun Club is one of them.
The country club
The
kind
country
of thing.
club, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so Richmond, Virginia, and soon Wichita, Kansas area.
Yep.
Okay. And all that information is on the website.
Wichita's not on the website. I just found out about it this morning.
Okay, so this is breaking news right here.
Yes, breaking news.
So what's the website for Gunsite?
www.gunsite.com.
And then you can look up Gunsite Academy on Facebook. A lot of information there. Dan is called in from Shreveport, Louisiana, on line 3. Dan, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom, I rarely disagree with you, but I tell people when they're asked a question they're not entitled to know the answer is to either give a cold, dumb stare, a warm smile, or leave the answer blank.
Okay.
When you seek medical attention from a doctor, that statement that you make to medical practitioners is given a really high level of credibility under evidentiary rules. And if they ever decide that these people are federal agents, then we're all screwed. But you can't make false statements and mislead people. I think it's much better to just say, I don't care to answer that because it's none of your business. I think you were right on that point.
I'm okay with telling people it's none of your business. If they say, well, we have to ask, you say, well, good, you've done what you had to do. And then you say, let's move on. Yep. How would that work?
That would work great.
Okay, works for me, Dan. I appreciate it. Thank you for the call. Steve is on 2 out of Terry, Mississippi. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Tom. How are you? What I was calling about is on this same subject, when you're dealing with a physician, is you can just tell a physician, as you've walked through the hallway and through his office, you've seen his certificate, you've seen his license to practice medicine. You have not seen his certificate from the NRA as a certified firearms safety instructor. He probably doesn't have one. If he is requesting information from a medical practice outside his field of expertise and outside his training, that's grounds for malpractice.
Interesting. So you just say, look, I'd like to see a copy of the certification of your specific training in firearm safety.
Yes, and inform him that, if you don't have it, you are practicing outside your specialty or outside
but doctors know everything, don't you know? And look, I got a lot of good friends who are doctors, and but every once in a while you do run into one that just basically says, "You didn't go to med school, I did, so I know everything." And you're going, "Yeah, no, we'll move on there." Good, it's a good point, Steve. Thank you for the call there. Wow, Jane Anne. This is a hot topic, and I think it's getting worse because of Obamacare. And see, what's happened is the federal government is looking for every avenue it can get to get more information about who owns guns and piece by piece by piece slice away at it.
And they're making it against the law to not have insurance, to not go to the doctor. And that's how they're finding all of their facts out.
Right. No, it's exactly right. Okay, you don't want to have federally mandated Obamacare, then you have to pay a fine for not having that. And weirdly enough, the courts have upheld that. I don't understand it. Although Jane Anne has an idea for a way around at least some of this, and we'll get to that when we come back, because it's a pretty cool idea. And it's a trend that's taking place all over the country, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we'll talk about that. If you'd like to join us, 866-TALK-GUN. If you have a range report, a gun you've shot, something you want to buy, if you just want dispensation from me and permission to buy something, you know I'm on your side. Give me a call. We'll say, yes, of course you should buy that. 866-TALK-GUN. tell you, we're hearing more and more of these reports of people being asked by their doctors or health providers about their gun ownership. And also, even if they're not being asked about it, if they ask about depression or anything like that, that then gets reported and gets backdoored, especially from the VA, back to the FBI. And I want people to understand this, Jane Anne, is that once you get placed on that list as having been judged mentally defective, you can never own a gun again. It's not like, well, yeah, he was depressed and now he's not. It's a done deal, and you cannot own a gun the rest of your life.
Well, I think that's what is forcing people to go to concierge medicine. Mm-hmm. There are doctors out there operating out of their homes. It's totally legal. They have a license on the wall, and they charge you $2,500 or $3,500 a year to be your doctor. They don't take insurance. They don't take Medicare. They can prescribe medication for you if you need it, and you're given 13 visits. And I know this because I've looked into it. Okay. You're given 13 maximum visits a year, which I don't go to the doctor 13 times a year. And if you need a prescription for something, you can call them and say, hey, I've got a virus, I've got a cold, I need a prescription, and they'll call it in for you. So I think that's the smartest way to go now, is to get a doctor you can trust and doesn't take notes.
They're not required by insurance or Medicare or anybody to ask these questions because they don't participate in those programs.
That's right. And so what you do is you get a low-level insurance program for catastrophic.
Right.
And you just keep that to make the government happy.
Right.
And then
also, frankly, to take care of you, because, I mean, if you get something that's terrible, you need insurance for that.
That's right. But, you want a doctor you can trust. And these doctors that are in the system now, they say the government's making them ask these questions, but I believe that people are going to start moving towards concierge medicine.
Yeah, anybody who can afford it will be looking for that. And now we'll have yet another split of those who can and those who cannot afford it. And
and the government's forcing it down our throat.
There it is. All right, got to share this. I got an email. This was off of our Facebook page, the Gun Talk Media Facebook page. It says this is a chisel plow disc. Somebody has a big old steel plow disc and they've been shooting at it. And it says the 30-06, 270, 243, 762 by 39, 223, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Shoot this thing at 150 yards and they all just hit it and it scratches the paint. It says, but my 22-250 goes right through it. Why is that? I know. I got my hand in there. It's all about the velocity. It's why when you're shooting steel targets with 223, you don't shoot them at 10 yards because you will tear up the target. You've got to get the velocity below about 3,000 feet per second. We left steel target out of our range, and the fellow who owns the property there, nice guy, he just didn't know. We came out a week or two later, and there's this beautiful little small hole right through our steel target. I mean, we're talking, real steel target from Action Target. It's the good stuff, right? And we'd ask him, what happened? He says, oh, man, I couldn't believe it. I just shot it, punched a hole in it. And I'm thinking, we have shot this thing with 06s, with 223s. What'd you shoot it with? 257 Weatherby. Oh, yes. That'll do it. It's all about the velocity. It doesn't have to be powerful. It just has to be fast, and it will go through steel, whereas a bigger, slower projectile won't. So something for you to know. If you're wanting to shoot steel, be careful. Got to have that impact velocity somewhere below 3,000 feet per second. And I don't know what it is, but it's almost like it goes to plasma. It goes right through, but it'll punch a hole right in your steel. So if you want to know what's happening to your plow disc, that's it. Go with slower, lower velocities. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some of our wounded warriors, people who have served, who are injured. I know, Jane Anne, that's something that you guys do a lot of.
We have done some Wounded Warrior classes, but not for the Wounded Warriors.
No, not the Wounded Warrior Project, different deal.
Yes. We had an entire class full of disabled vets.
Outstanding. I'll tell you what, we'll talk about that, and we'll take your calls. 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk.